Машина на выезд. Танечка, иди сюда, для нас атомная горит.
37 years has passed since a catastrophe at a nuclear station at Chernobyl. And when people are trying to create movies that depict real tragic events, I think that there are only two requirements that they should follow. The first one is that although the movie is not a documentary, it should be really close to the real thing. And it's supposed, in terms that it's not supposed to offend anyone who participated in that event. And second thing is that it's supposed to evoke certain emotions, and if it is evoking different set of emotions and giving you a different idea of that event, and I think that movie is considered a failure. This one is in particular, the Chernobyl from HBO, is a really great series, although it is not completely true to reality, but no movie is true to reality 100%, even documentaries. So let's try to recreate the look that was depicted in this movie. For reference, I took this frame, a really greenish one. The green color is going to give you subconsciously the feeling of poison or radioactivity or something like that. It's typically used to give you that idea. And because the series was shot for an HBO requires you to color grade everything in ACES, so this is what I did. Let's go to color management, ACES CCT, I chose ACES 1.3, ACES input transform Blackmagic design, Film Gen 5 apply ACES reference gamut compress. If you do not know what it does, there is a video on my channel explaining it in greater detail. ACES output transform Rec 709, and I also use color space aware grading tools. It's supposed to make our life a little bit easier when we are color grading. Now, I couldn't find anything similar to this shot in the internet, so I shot the shot myself, the one that you saw at the beginning of this video. So let's go to this frame. This is how it looks without any color grading, and before we start grading we need to import our reference frame in here and to gallery as well, because we need it simultaneously at both of those places. You're gonna see why. So initially ACES does not recognize that this is Rec 709, so here is what you're gonna do. You're gonna hit clips, right click in here, ACES input transform, inverse display in Rec 709, and then it's going to look properly. So let's go to the frame we need to color grade. Then we're going to activate split screen and go to selected clips. Then with control we're going to select this clip and then zoom in, and you're gonna see that on parade we've got these lines that now appeared. They depict this white box that surrounds my frame, so just ignore it. So let's try to get to that look, which is not really easy, but I'm quite happy with the final result. The first thing I did is I tuned my contrast. I just played with the contrast itself and with gain gamma lift. You can see it right now because I recorded everything I did. Now the second thing I did, I moved to the green portion of the image, so I introduce a little bit of green. To do that we're gonna need to go to color bars and reintroduce or subtract some of the colors from gain, gamma and lift depending on the situation, judging by the parade. After that I decided to add glow effect because there is a source of light in my shot, and I know that adding glow effect will increase the contrast and will make everything a little bit prettier and closer to the reference frame, so I added glow. Typically we would try to neutralize shadows, but if you judge the reference frame, we can see that shadows are not really neutral. Only the deepest, really deepest shadows are neutral. The rest of the shadows are colorized. What is neutral, on the other hand, is the highest highlights, the specular highlights. the light that is coming from these light sources, it is neutral. So this is what we're gonna do. We're going to go to the log wheels, we're going to introduce the opposite color, and we're going to control it with a wrench, thus neutralizing our source of light. Now, to make it even grittier, to make it even more like tense, we need to add a lot of grain. So adding grain effect, film grain, and controlling it to make it even more disturbing. At this point, I noticed that my shadows are too deep in, that they are concealing a lot of detail, so I used low soft to bring some of those details back. But be careful with that parameters, because it is going to be impossible to restore the same black level once you apply that thing. So apply it at the end of your pipeline, how I did. I think that they didn't do that, but at the end of my pipeline, I introduced a little bit of vignetting. I think they did that just by lighting everything properly. I didn't have such an opportunity, so I introduced a little bit of vignetting. And if you judge this parade, you can see that our red, green, and blue, they almost align, but the reference, red, green, and blue, they do not. Actually, these peaks, they represent the white light that we neutralized before. On our reference frame, it is our specular highlights. The really thin part of our parade, they are also at the same level, thus making these highlights neutral. We can see that judging by the vector scope, we are in the right section. See, we are at the right section. This greenish yellowish part, which is making our image really uncomfortable, which is what we want. So this is all I wanted to show you. This is the color grade. It's not really difficult, but it's not simple, and I'm happy with the result. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.